is, what is it? Day 48 of Flippin Live on June 22nd, 2020. I'm Andrew from 510 Books, and a little bit late today for the live people. Sorry about that, but was gonna chat about for new sellers. Should you stick to cherry picking at thrift stores and that type of thing, yard sales, estate sales, and whatnot, or should you try to find Gaylords and jump into that? So let's get started. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. All right, guys, good morning. Turn the music down a little bit. So I didn't think too much yesterday about reselling. So I didn't really plan today too much, but hopefully some other people will show up. Just wanted to talk about, because I had a new bookseller, and whether or not they should go into bulk or whether they should start cherry picking. The reason why this came to mind is because someone had left a message or a comment on one of my videos, and I had responded, and then I just saw another comment on a different video that someone had left with the same question of whether it was they're looking into buying their first Gaylord. I'm assuming they are a newer reseller, not necessarily, I don't know for sure, but it's in the same vein. Yeah, Michael says, I guess I have to compare Gaylord, here I'll put it up, Gaylord prices to advertising prices to get donations. At this point, I would go with Gaylords only if prices were cheaper than my advertising cost to get same number of books. Yeah, I mean, in that vein, I would much rather do donations, but that's because I am not only trying to get books, but I am also trying to grow my Facebook page, which will then, in the long term, bring me more donations and spread the word about my local sale and have more people show up to my local sale. So for me, it makes more sense to invest in Facebook ads than to buy Gaylords, because if I buy Gaylords, even if they're less expensive, which they're not, by the way, for me, I'm spending $5 a day on ads, on a Facebook ad, and getting, actually this weekend I got a lot of activity on that, although some of them were a waste of time, but and I'm getting people to like the video and the ad, and then inviting them to join or follow or like my page. So for me, it does make more sense. But even if we were strictly talking about, you don't have a Facebook page and you're just trying to solicit donations, yeah, it would depend, right? It would depend on what the response is in your area for the ad. If you're in a highly populated area, you should get a good response, I think. And it seems like, Michael, you're getting a good response, and I'm getting a good response as well. It fluctuates, but some days are better than others. Some parts of the week tend to be better, like weekends tend to be better, but then also I get responses during the week, so it just depends. It's kind of random. Because I pay $65 a Gaylord for books, but I have to have them delivered to me. So that's $120 delivery fee. So, one Gaylord of books has about 800 to 1,000 books. And for me to get that many donations, it's got to be quite a few donations, basically, like maybe, I don't know, depends, right? I've gotten one box or one bag of donations, and then I've got 5 boxes of donations from one person. So it varies. But anyway, it just depends. Yeah. I think a larger problem than the cost of Gaylords are the cost of shipping. Freight never seems like it's cheap from what I've researched. Cherry picking also involves a lot of running around. Mileage and time definitely plays a factor too. Yeah, I mean, if you're brand new book reseller on Amazon and you've, I mean, the person that contacted me or left a comment seems like they're brand new, as in they haven't even started scanning any books at all. They're still they're asking me about whether they should use the Amazon seller app versus paying for, well, versus paying for an app, keep their costs low, that type of thing. So it seems to me that they're brand new and they are, um, uh, you know, they haven't started to dive into scanning a lot of books. So I recommended to them to not get into Gaylords, even if they had a source. Although if they have a source, maybe depends on their cost and how it's set up. But overall, I would say it's unlikely that they would have a source to start off. But you never know; it's possible. But if they don't, then I would recommend that they do not um, do that and just dive in, cherry pick, and start going to thrift stores. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for that. Um, it's a it, the bottom line about getting good at this business and are better at finding profitable books. That's the bottom line, is scanning more and more books. So if you have not started to scan any books, you should get out there, even with the Amazon app, and start scanning them and seeing what you find. Um, I looked at the Amazon app when I was responding to this person's comment, and it really does not have much data at all, although it is better than nothing and it is free. Um, and, an account at Amazon is free as well. So it does offer you, it shows you the current sales rank of the item. It shows you so current sales rank, how many offers there are, new and used. And then when you click through, it'll show you, it'll break them down, between new and used and how many FBA offers there are versus, how many merchant fulfilled. And then you have the ability to see the profit of the item. But again, you scan an item and it pops up, and then you have to touch it. You have to click on it with your finger to open the next screen, and there you'll see more. You'll see all the FBA offers, number of FBA offers, and then your potential profit. But then you have to click again on another screen to go through to see the details of what the profit is and to change the number if you wanted to change the price of the item and see what your potential profit would be. So it's much more time consuming to use that app. But in the beginning, I understand how people feel about spending money on something they don't know if it'll work or not. But I recommended to them, I said when I first started, which is true, the first, I think, at least a year, probably closer to a year and a half or more, I only used the Amazon app because I was so stubborn about spending money and being unsure about whether it would work. And I was using the Amazon app and I was finding books, and they were selling. So very beginning, the first few months, I didn't sell too many books, but after maybe like 4 or 5, 6 months, I started, as I continued to send in shipments to FBA. Like my first shipment, I was just sending it in, and then I stopped and didn't do anything. It was like, oh my gosh, it's going to work? And then a few things sold, and I was like, wow, Not that many have sold, but some things are selling. So anyway, but I kept using that app, and I was stubborn about it. If you watch some of my first videos, I think pretty sure I made a video about it saying why I'm using the Amazon Seller app, and being stubborn about it. And then people responding, commenting and saying, man, I highly recommend you use, it was like FBA Scan, Profit Bandit, which was around back then. I assume it's still around. I don't know. Is Profit Bandit still around? Yeah, I guess so. So anyway, and Scout IQ did not exist back then. This is pre Scout IQ. So Scoutly, or it was FBA Scan at the time, was kind of the big deal. Um, and Profit Bandit. But I didn't. I tried Profit Bandit, didn't like it that much, and then I tried FBA Scan and did like that and stuck with that. And I'm still using Scoutly, which used to be FBA Scan now, and it's great and it has everything you need. So I told the person, I said, well, responded, you can use the app, the Amazon Seller app, to kind of get used to it and has basic information. But I said I recommend, it's only $9.99 a month for Scoutly. Scout IQ, I believe, is $14 a month just for the live lookup, and that's all I've ever used is a live lookup, by the way. So don't listen to people who say you've got to use a database, because I've never done it. So unless you just have terrible cell phone service wherever you are, then you're going to need to get the database, which is more expensive. But out of the gate, $14 versus $10, it's only a couple bucks difference. But if you want to go the cheaper route, and it's totally, Scoutly works great. It has all the information you need on one screen. If you need to see Keepa graphs more in detail, you have to click through. If you want to type in a different cost of goods, or see the difference between merchant fulfilled and FBA profit, or a different price for the potential profit, then you have to, click through. But for the most part, everything's just on the one screen, and there's a ton of information, and you can make a quick decision about whether to buy something. So these are all for veteran sellers, logical things. But when you're for starting and you haven't sent in any shipments, you haven't scanned anything, it can be a little daunting to just start spending $10 a month, even if it's only $10 a month, even though it's only $10 a month. Oh, Michael, yeah. I should set up my 510. I should buy the domain and set that up and just have like a landing page for it. Oh, it's so much more involved. But yeah, Google Ads. Are Google Ads even cheaper than Facebook ads, Michael? Nice thing about cherry picking, though, is not dealing with an overwhelming. Yes. The duds. A new person needs to learn how to analyze the data. Yeah. So 1 second, JD, I'll get to that. So yeah, the other thing that I told them was that the most important thing about being successful at the business is not necessarily, the tools. The tools will help you get there quicker, right? But it is grinding it out and scanning a lot of books. So whether you're using the Amazon app, or you're using Scoutly or Scout IQ or Profit Bandit or whatever, is grinding it out and going to a thrift store and scanning, 381 books or 563 or 1,050 books, whatever, spending a couple hours, and then finding a few that look like they're profitable, because you don't really know that well as a new seller, but you're trying to learn. But, even on the Amazon app, it shows, oh, look, there's not, when I think about it now, it's like, wow, there's a lot of information to learn. But anyway, you find some, you send them in. That's what I told them. I said, scan thousands of books, list the profitable ones that you find, ship them in, and then go back and start scanning again, and then see which ones actually sell, right? And then adjust as you go and learn more. So just scan your butt off, basically. I recommended like 3 to 6 months of just going hard with scanning like 10,000 books. The more you scan, the more you understand what is profitable, what is not, what kind of books are worth scanning, what kind of books are not, generally speaking. In the beginning, you should basically scan all nonfiction books, probably a good amount of fiction books, just to get an idea. Um, and then the other big one, which Michael mentioned, is the difference between cherry picking and buying Gaylord. One of the big differences is cherry picking. You just buy the ones you're actually going to send into Amazon, right? With Gaylords, you buy all those books. You own all of them. So if you buy 5 Gaylords of books to start out, first load, uh, not even talking about you have to have space for it, but let's assume you have garage space or a storage unit or something, and a way to move those Gaylords around, like a pallet jack, or just sit them there because you're not going to move them around, whatever. But aside from that, what are you going to do? Which is what I wrote with all the duds. Are you going to that's the biggest headache. It's not finding profitable books. You will find some, but it's if there's 900 books in a Gaylord, it's not going to be 20% that are going to go to FBA, or even FBA and merchant fulfilled. It's probably going to be less than 10%. And if you're doing just FBA, it's definitely going to be less than 10%, unless you find an amazing Gaylord source or just happen to hit upon a really quality Gaylord, which happens. Sometimes you only pull 17 books for FBA out of a Gaylord, and sometimes you'll pull 45. So it varies, right? But it's going to be a small percentage. It's probably going to be between like 5 and 8%. If you get over 10%, so that would be 90 books out of 900. That's almost unheard of. So I would say more like even 5% would be 45 books, and that's a lot. Probably less than 5%, but also depends on your parameters. Are you okay with just $1 profit, or do you want at least $3? Do you want $5? Because the higher profit you want, the less books you're going to find for FBA in the Gaylord. So anyway, whatever your parameters are, whatever you find for FBA, and let's assume you're not doing merchant fulfilled, but if you are, you'll find some more as well, but not a ton. So you're left with, out of 900 books, let's say you're left with 850 left over. So what do you do with those? If you're just starting, you probably don't have very many ways to deal with getting rid of them. You probably don't have, well, you may be on eBay. Maybe you are already selling on eBay, but then you have to, put those books aside for eBay. There's only so many in there that you're going to be able to sell on eBay. You can do buyback sites. They'll only buy so many. You're essentially going to be left with hundreds and hundreds of duds. So unlikely you're going to be having a local sale, although you could do like a garage sale. But again, it's a lot of management of excess inventory. So anyway, I don't recommend that until you start making some money. Make some money, figure out what items sell. Some people don't do this route. They dive right into Gaylords because they just want to go big, and they have a way of, they figure out a way to deal with the duds. They either pay back in the day, as in like 3 years ago, if you had enough, you could just drop them off in a truck at a recycler, and they would pay you. Or if you had a lot, a truckload or whatever the minimum is, the recycler will come and pick them up from you. And that was an easy way to get rid of them. And you could just do Amazon. You could just do FBA or do FBA and merchant fulfilled. But nowadays, with how the paper industry is going, it's not so easy to do that. Mostly you have to actually pay for recycler to take it from you. So anyway, that's a huge consideration. And yeah, Michael said that with cherry picking, thrift stores, yard sales, estate sales, all that, you've got to drive around. But that's okay as long as you're not having to drive like 50 miles to a thrift store. Let's hope that you've got some thrift stores within 10 to 20 miles of where you live. Otherwise, that's going to be tough. So if you're in a rural area, it's going to be tough to be a book reseller, especially in the beginning. You're really going to have to drive a lot. But if you live in a more highly populated city or region, like I do here in Southern California, there's just tons of places to go in terms of thrift stores. And normally non-COVID time, pre-COVID times, and whenever we get to post-COVID, there will be plenty of estate sales and garage sales and library book sales. So you will have endless supply of books to scan. But you will have to drive a little bit. And it not only is it, you put some miles on the car and spend on gas, but it can be a little bit tiring. But that's why if you find a good spot, you can be there for a few hours and scan a lot of books. Okay. JD said, "What if you want to sell mainly on eBay? Does the Amazon app or Scoutly still work?" No, it does not. And for CDs and other media too. Not for eBay. eBay is just their app, and their app only has, you can scan, right, barcodes with the eBay app, but all it's going to show you is what is currently selling, and then you can click on or select solds just to see what is sold in the last 3 months, but it'll only show you the last 3 months. Excuse me. Well, so with the app, you can get a general idea of if something is going for enough money to make a profit on eBay, and then a general idea of if it's sold in the last 3 months on your phone. However, that's about it. With Amazon, there's so much data. There's a sales rank. There's how many sales have been made in the last, 6 months. There's Keep a Graph, which shows you how many sales in the last, month, 3 months, a year or more. Uh, uh, it shows you how many offers there are, all that stuff, right? Breaks down the profit, but eBay app does next to nothing except to show you if there's other offers and how much it's going for and what it's sold for recently and how many times it's sold, right, in the last 3 months. So unfortunately, there's not too much data. You have to get good at figuring out what makes sense to sell on eBay. So no, you can't use those. Google ads are comparable to Facebook ads on Google. It costs 5, 6. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now, this is really true. If you're new, you should definitely listen to this. The best thing, okay. The best thing a newbie can do is scan a ton of books because you'll develop Jedi skill when you can sort potentials. Yeah. Just using your eyeballs. Absolutely. Even now, and it's like riding a bike, or maybe that's a bad analogy. It's I don't know, but it's essentially you don't lose that ability over time. So as I get book donations, even though I'm not walking to a thrift store or library sale and seeing thousands of books or whatever and scanning a ton of them, as I get book donations, so I just picked up a book donation yesterday of like 3 boxes. Most of them were non-barcoded, um, but I've put them up, well, whatever. I put them up with a barcode facing up if it has it. I stack them up like that, and then I stack up the ones that don't have a barcode but they have an ISBN, and then I make another stack for the ones that don't have barcode or an ISBN that I have to look up manually, uh, and that's how I go through it. What is my point? Right. But even as I'm piling them up, I can notice like, oh, this is probably not worth anything. But I'm getting them donated to me, so I'm gonna scan every book and look up every book just in case. But for the most part, can tell whether it's gonna be worth money or not by looking at the cover. So you do definitely develop that skill or ability as you have the further along you progress through scanning thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of books. You can go to a thrift store and just look at the shelf. You can go to the fiction section as an example. Most fiction is not worth money to flip on Amazon. But you can go to the fiction section and just look at the spines, and you'll know which ones are probably worth scanning. You can go to the nonfiction and know which ones are probably worth money and which ones are not. So yeah, it does give you that ability. JD said, but wouldn't the Amazon app give you some idea if it was an expensive book or CD versus a dud? Yes, it will. So I would say Amazon app can help you with eBay in the sense of if it's has a very high sales rank on Amazon, then that might indicate that it could sell on eBay. Typically, super high sales ranks on Amazon translate to potentially a quicker sale on eBay, uh, because of the customer base is a little different, and the book might be more collectible or more of a niche book or something that I see this all the time. People commenting in Facebook groups, and I've seen it too, of course, personally, where a high ranked sales rank book on Amazon hasn't has like a 10 million rank, or a ridiculous like 18 million rank, and then, or even like a 5 million, 8 million rank, and then you list it on eBay, and there's maybe like no copies on eBay, or one or two copies that are priced ridiculously high, and you list yours for a much more reasonable price. Let's say they're going for like $80, and you list yours for $29.99, and then it sells within like a week, but it hasn't sold in 2 years on Amazon. That happens all the time. So definitely you can use it as a way. It doesn't mean every book that has a high sales rank on Amazon is worth listing on eBay, but it does give you a sense of whether or not, number one, the item is going for a lot of money, and number two, whether it's kind of rare, or a book that doesn't sell that often on Amazon, but it might do better on eBay. Yeah, I mean, well, I would only do merchant fulfilled. So JD says, and you could always do merchant fulfilled if eBay turns out not to be good. Well, I would say you could list on both. Well, here's the thing. I mean, I would only list an item. I would check Amazon first. So I would do FBA first. Sort of my flow chart is FBA first. If it's no good on FBA, while I'm using Scoutly, let me see, where's Scoutly? I will check to see if it's worth it for merchant fulfilled. So I'm just gonna go to Scoutly history. I don't know what this is. What is this? So let me hold on. Let me dim my. So I'll go to Scoutly. Right, here's one that I scanned from that donation that I received yesterday, and I'll scan it, or type in the ISBN, and then this one for FBA is no good. I mean, you could hypothetically send it in because there's no FBA offers, but the merchant fulfilled offers are so low, $6.97. Hold on. That it just doesn't make sense, and there's only been 6 sales in the last 6 months. That I wouldn't do it FBA. It's not enough profit. And this book, I believe, was a large book. Yeah. And there's a lot of merchant fulfilled offers. There's 27 offers, so I wouldn't bother with. I mean, even if I sent it in for, let's see, I mean, $13.97, I'd make $3, and it would take a long time to sell. It doesn't make sense. So also, as I'm looking at this, I look at the merchant fulfilled $6.97. Well, what's that? Here, I'll switch to merchant. So I would make negative 27 cents if I were to list it merchant fulfilled with 0 cost of goods. So get it as a free book. So I would know automatically just by looking at this, I'm not going to sell this. I'm not going to list this FBA or merchant fulfilled. I could look it up on eBay, complete history of Chrysler Corporation. Let's do it. Whoopsie doopsie. Complete of price. There it is. Here. So complete. Okay. Well, anyway, complete history. It's all over the place. There's one for $5.31, and then. Give me 1 second. Let me. Where is? Anyway, so let's see if it's sold. Oops. It's sold for $5.54 and $10 plus shipping. So it's not one that I would bother with. So anyway, to answer your question, sorry, I'm just kind of. So I would not go like FBA, no good. Try it on eBay, that doesn't work. Then do merchant fulfilled. Try it on merchant fulfilled. I would do FBA, no good. Merchant fulfilled, no good. If I want, check eBay, probably no good either, but you never know. Again, this book has sold for $5.54 June 18th. It just sold a few days ago. That makes no money. And then sold for $10 plus $5 shipping back in March. Now that doesn't mean that it. And there's seven offers, but there's a low offer of $5.31 on this. So anyway, so I wouldn't bother with that, but Amazon app can definitely be helpful to figure out. I don't do it that way though. I mean, well, I shouldn't say that. If I'm scanning it, if it has a barcode or ISBN, I will look at the book and say, well, would this make sense on eBay? This one I just looked up could have made sense. The Complete History of Chrysler Corporation, 1924 to 1985. Now, if I just so happen to have 4 or 5 other Chrysler related automobile books, then maybe it would make sense to put them into a lot. Would I keep this one book just in hopes, cross my finger, that I come across other Chrysler books to put into a lot? Probably not, although you could put them into other car related book lots or together and just try to accumulate those and see what you get. But you have to have the space and the patience for that and the organization. But individually, this one is just an example of it doesn't make sense on Amazon or eBay individually. Although you could sell it, like at a local sale, like my sale, I could put that up and in my car section, and you never know. It's very niche though. Michael says, highest rank I've seen sold. Hi, Aaron. Good morning. For my end was just under 5 million sale rank. What was your highest? Oh, you mean highest? Oh boy. I know I've sold over 5 million ranked book on Amazon for sure. I don't know what the highest is though. I haven't really kept track of that. Although I could look at, for FBA, merchant fulfilled on the other hand. Hold on. Is this merchant fulfilled? Okay. Where's the ranks? Is that the rank? So I have a spreadsheet of merchant fulfilled sales that I've made over the years. And I put down the sales rank when I list it. And so I've got one here that sold, this sold this month, and when I listed it, it was an audiobook. The rank was 4,808,000. Listed it in February, and it sold merchant fulfilled. Let's see. I'm just gonna scan real quick, see if I find any others. So that was a high one, almost 5 million rank for a merchant fulfilled sale. Here's one. Time to Sing. Okay. This is one that I sold last year. Oh, no. Sorry, that's the wrong one. Oh, here it is. That I sold this year in March, and the rank was 3,459,000. But that was that was not a CD. That was a CD? Oh, wow. Okay. That was a CD. So anyway, I have sold definitely. I'm positive I've sold items for over 5 million. I know that because I remember seeing that before, but I don't know the exact number. So what is the lowest sale price you would bother with on eBay? Oh, assuming you also charge shipping. If you charge shipping, so I have this little chart here that I wrote out a while back for CDs, DVDs. Also, you could probably apply books generally to this, as long as it's not like a really heavy book. So these are items actually that weigh less than a pound. So for a book that weighs less than a pound, this would apply, a pound or less. And this is for free shipping though. So if I sold a CD, DVD, or a book, free shipping, a pound weighs a pound or less. And this is with me having a premium store. If I sold it for $5.99, I would make $2.13. $6.99, I'd make $3 even. Remember, this is free shipping. So, like you said, if there's shipping, you can add shipping on top, and you'll make more money, of course. $7.99, I make $3.86. $8.99, $4.73. $9.99, $5.59. So you're going to make more money because I'm having to pay for shipping. If you charge shipping, but I a lot of times will do free shipping to try to get the sale. But anyway, I would say depends on your profit margin. I mean, I like to keep it about $6.99 with free shipping, so I make at least $3. But going forward, I think I'm going to stick to a higher, closer to maybe $18 and up for eBay, just because it takes so much more time to list there. And because I'm going to start focusing more on my local sale, I would rather put out some items that I could sell for $10, $12 on eBay, and list them or put them in my local sale, make a little bit less money, but have a bigger variety. However, it depends on the item. So books are a little bit longer to list than like a CD or a DVD, and also books take up more space, are bigger, heavier than a CD or a DVD. If I have 20 DVDs that are going for between, let's say, $12 to $15 on eBay, I would probably still list them on eBay just because they don't take that much time to photograph or to list, versus 20 books for $12 to $15. I'd probably maybe only list a few of those that I felt would sell quicker, and then maybe just leave the rest or put the rest in my local sale. So it depends on, also books, I'm assuming if they're bigger, heavier books too, then I would probably not do that unless it's more profitable. So anyway, so my profit has been over, since I started eBay, was trying to make at least like $3 to $5, so at least $3 profit margin. But I'm probably gonna, unless it's super quick for like a CD or a DVD. A lot of books, I'm just gonna stick to the higher profit ones. But CDs and DVDs take up less space, and they weigh less, and they're quicker to list. So I don't mind making a little bit less profit off of those and spending less time to list those. I can list more at once than I can with books. So again, your question about the lowest sale price for eBay for books would depend on the book. It would depend on how much it's going for realistically, how big it is, so how much it weighs, because even if I'm going to charge shipping, then you have to compete with other people. So if the lowest offer is $15 plus shipping, you don't want to go above that typically, unless you have a better copy than they do, unless they have a really rough copy. Depends on, excuse me. Oh, wow. Depends on the situation, the specifics. But I'd probably want to make at least, I don't know, $5 or so. But depends on your situation and how much you spend on the item. So my recommendation, if somebody's watching this in the future or even live right now as a new seller, even if you're a new seller and you're reading up on it and watching YouTube videos and going in Facebook groups and all that kind of stuff, and seeing the potential for reselling books on Amazon, I would stick to cherry picking and doing thrift stores. Wow, I keep yawning. Sorry, guys. doing thrift stores and that type of thing before you jump into Gaylords. It's pretty rare that somebody would start book reselling and just jump right into Gaylords, find the source, and set that all up. I mean, it's happened and it'll continue to happen, but um, I think that you should get a good, solid idea of what are quality books to sell. And really, the only way to do that to resell is you've got to scan a lot of books. So you've got to know which books are have potential profit, and then you've got to list them. So you got to get good at the listing process, that whole thing of and then shipping. And then once they go live at the warehouse, you've got to see what sells, which books are selling, how long their books are taking to sell, which books are not selling, and then you have to reprice accordingly. And then, excuse me, oh man, wow. And then, you can rinse and repeat, right, with what you've learned. So send in as many books as you can afford to send in, and as time allows you to source and list and ship, the more you scan, the more you list and ship, the more you'll sell and not sell, and understand what books are worth your effort and time to buy, to try to flip, try to resell. Also, you'll get an idea of how much money do you want to make minimum on a book. If you send in a book that is only gonna pay profit you $2 and you spend $1 on it, so you're making $3, right? Is that enough profit? Is that worth your time? Is it taking too much time to find those books, to find enough books? Are you finding other more profitable books? Are you finding 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, $80 books while you're out there? Or are you only finding $3 to $5 profit books? So if you're only finding mostly $3 to $5 profit books, but you're finding a lot of them, well, then that's something you can work with, right? If you're sending in 100 a week, well, that's $300, $500. I mean, once they all sell, that you can be making. So that's significant. But if you're only sending in 20 a week, and most of them are $3 to $5 profit books, then maybe you want to, either you want to source more, or you want to focus on more profitable books. You got to figure out what makes sense for you. Because why do most people start reselling books? Are they already fully employed, and they're looking for just an extra income, or extra money to either help out with survival, or is it just fun money? Is it a serious look into quitting their current job and doing book reselling full time, and they're just trying out different things? So everyone's different, right? Some people retired, some people are stay-at-home moms or dads, and they just want some extra money, I don't know, for the kids, or fix up the house, or who knows what, or just save for the future, pay off debts. There's a million reasons, right? So it depends on your situation, but all of that stuff you got to consider. I mean, that's why it's important to scan a lot, list a lot, sell a lot, and also don't sell. See what doesn't sell, because that's the best way to figure out how to go forward. Yeah, another newbie tip: if you're at a thrift store that has too many books with Fabio on the cover, go to a different thrift store. I hardly see him. I wish I could see him more on the covers, but I agree. If there's too many, what is it, Chicken Soup for the Soul or whatever, or there's too many Dan Browns, or there's too many Twilight books, or there's too many 50 Shades of Grey books, really, really popular stuff. If it's mostly fiction, you probably do want to go to a different thrift store. If there's a lot of nonfiction, then you can spend some time there, and see what they have. You might find some good stuff. Oh man. Michael asked, have I lined up anyone? No, I have not hired anybody yet. Although I think I'm going to get uh, a storage unit, a storage. I just don't want to put. My wife convinced me to do this because I'm trying to work. I'm going to be working on improving upon my warehouse sale in terms of my shelving and how I organize everything. And I want to use most of the warehouse going forward. So there's really not going to be room. I do have some room now in the back for some boxes, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm thinking about doing the storage unit so that I can put the boxes in there, but I have not hired anybody or lined anybody up to help me with that. No, but we'll see going forward. Wow, I am yawning a lot. Sorry, guys. I should probably sleep more. So yeah. So my recommendation is wait to do Gaylords. If it's something that, I mean, I got excited about the prospect of doing Gaylords just because there's so many books in a Gaylord. But consider you need to have space. Um, you need to know how to deal with the duds. You need to have the physical capabilities to pull a lot of books out of a Gaylord and carry them around and move them around. And also, when you get closer to the halfway down, 3/4 down the box, the Gaylord box, you're gonna have to be like either climbing into the box or leaning over and sacrificing your lower back. And remember to engage the core when you're doing that. But yeah, it's physical work. And when you're at a thrift store, you don't have to deal with that. The thrift store is dealing with moving books and organizing them and all of that. So you just have, and they have to deal with the duds, the ones that don't sell in their store. So, so keep that in mind as well. And you potentially will need a pallet jack to move the stuff around. You might be left with empty Gaylord boxes and pallets. Let's see. I don't know what else. That's what I can think of now. But there's a lot of extra things to consider, and the duds are just huge. I've barely talked about it. The excess books that you can't sell individually on Amazon, either FBA or merchant fulfilled. And even if you're doing eBay, there's still going to be a ton left. And even if you're doing buybacks, if you're doing for FBA, merchant fulfilled, eBay, and using buyback sites, you're still going to be left with hundreds of books, probably 500 from one Gaylord. Forget about you have 3, 5, 6, 10, 12 Gaylords. So now you're talking thousands of books. If you have a way of getting rid of them efficiently, someone will pick them up from you, then you're golden. You're good to go, right? But if you don't have that, then it's going to be rough going. It's going to be a lot of extra work. So it's not about the books that you find to make money on. It's about the books that you can't make money on. How do you deal with those? So consider that. Figure that out first before you buy a bunch of Gaylords. Yeah, Michael says getting donations is almost like getting Gaylords, but just more spread out. Yeah. Essentially, you don't get the same quantity all at once, and you don't have to deal with gigantic boxes. I get them either mostly boxed up in smaller boxes or in bags. Like 90% of the time, it's boxes. Probably 95%, to be honest, or higher. Only a few times have I got bags of books. So it's much easier to deal with because I'm not getting a ton at once, and also they're in boxes, so I can just easily carry them, take them out, and then I also get more boxes for myself if I need them for shipping or whatever it may be. So yeah, I mean, Michael and I are going that route. I'm doing that to get books, but also the other thing is I end up getting CDs, DVDs, and sometimes records with donations as well. But anyway, donations is a whole nother thing. That costs money, not a lot, but it does cost some extra money. So Brian says, even if someone takes books to a used bookstore, they're duds, they will cut you off eventually and may not offer much in return. Yeah, that's the thing with duds. I mean, there's thing about books, which is why so many people get into reselling books, is because there are so many books to find. There's always a river of books in every major city. And so they're everywhere. But then also, because there's so many, they're not valued that much. So that becomes a problem. Also, you can do little free libraries if you have a lot in your area. You can drop off a lot of books there, which is what I'm doing with excess books that I cannot sell online or in my local sale, or I already have copies. I will, or I don't feel that they'll sell. They're not a good fit. I'll just take them to the little free libraries. Free bins at Second and Charles and McKay's are great places to dispose of duds. You'll see referrals from people who donate. Yeah, relationships, relationships, relationships. I can't stress that more or enough. Is whether you are, it doesn't matter. What I'm doing now with the Facebook ad and getting donations, it's led to this opportunity with the bookstore and all those excess books that they have. Another guy contacted me, which I told you about yesterday, or I think yesterday, this past week, about he had run a bookstore for 5 years in another state, and he had, I guess, brought all those books with him here, and they're sitting in a storage unit. And in a month, he said he's going to be ready for me to pick those up. And then a woman at the sale who bought a bunch of kids' books and said she has books to donate, but then her daughter has a bunch of records, who I haven't heard from yet. Cross my fingers that they do contact me. I probably should have been better about getting her contact information. But anyway, you live and learn. But those kind of things open up to you if you build relationships. If you go the different route of thrift stores, estate sales, garage sales, library book sales, you build relationships that way. I think it's a very good idea for you to have business cards. And I'm going to order some. I've already ordered some in the past, but I'm going to order some again that instead of saying Marshall Bookman, they say 5-10 books. And you can pass those out as you tell people. Now, I understand some people will be watching this and say, yeah, I'm not going to buy what do you call it? Business cards, because I don't really like to talk to people. I just want to go to the shelves and scan and be left alone, and that's totally fine. You don't have to talk to people, but if you do build relationships with people, it will potentially pay off, and you will be the book person, and they will go to you for that. So just keep that in mind. JD says, CD and DVD Gaylords attract me more than books. Yes, due to the heft and weight especially, but not even sure I want to do that. So when it comes to Gaylords, I prefer mixed media or CD, DVD Gaylords, because I can make money off of almost everything in there when you combine Amazon with eBay. And then, of course, I sell locally, but if you're only doing Amazon and eBay, you can still make money off of just about every CD, every DVD that's in there, excluding the ones that are, scratched or broken or destroyed. All the ones that are in playable condition, you can make money off of them, right? You can sell a lot of CDs individually on Amazon or eBay, and DVDs the same, Amazon or eBay, depending on whether you're gated or ungated on Amazon. But you can definitely sell a lot on eBay, and then also you can do lots or series or sets on eBay. So if you have 50, 80 DVDs individually to list on eBay, you can then take the rest of them and put them into lots. You can do wholesale lots. You can do it by different genres. CD, I do it by genre category, artist, that type of thing. And you can make money off of all of them. And also you can do loose discs. You can take the discs out, CD discs, put them together, sell them as a loose disc set or lot, and do DVD lots also. And you can break it up by musical genre or movie type, or you can do like movies, TV shows, kids programming, different ways. Or you can put them all together. So you can basically make money off of everything. You also get free empty cases. Free, right? You paid for the Gaylord, and then you're ready to go. You're basically through the Gaylord. It's a lot of work, but there's a lot in there. And there's other stuff that's in there too. Of course, if it's a mixed media, you're going to have some video games, which are potentially awesome. You're going to have audiobooks, which potentially, most of them won't be able to resell individually, but some might. And you can put all those audiobooks together in a lot and sell it on eBay. What else can you find? Some software that can go for great money. This is if it's a mixed media one versus all CDs or all DVDs. So I prefer it to books, to be honest, for Gaylords. So that's a different conversation. But yes, if you can get it for a decent price, I would say anywhere between $200 to $300 per Gaylord. It's good, right? As long as it's, so sometimes mixed media will be like, they'll also have a lot of VHS tapes. Those you don't want to pay much for. There's a lot of VHS tapes in there, and maybe there's some records in there too sometimes. Anyway, but yes, I prefer those to book Gaylords. Book Gaylords just got to be too much for me. A lot of physical work, too many duds, too overwhelming. So many books. You can even post your business cards in coffee shops and grocery stores. People are tired of looking at realtor business cards. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to have a card and to pass it around, or put it on a little bulletin board or something. There's not going to be very many other business cards anywhere that are going to say bookseller, book buyer, I'll buy your books, or whatever, however you want to phrase it, but bookseller, book buyer. Absolutely. All right, guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to get out of here on this beautiful Monday. Although I don't know if it's beautiful. It looks like the sun's coming out.
Flippin' life, flippin' life. We're gonna strive. We're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' life, flippin' life, flippin' life. We're flippin' life.
All right, guys, thank you for watching, for tuning in. I know I showed up a little late today. Sorry about that. But we did dive into a different topic here. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Hope you have a good Monday, guys. Hope you're able to do some sourcing or listing or selling, etc. Relationship building for your business. It's the start of a new week, so I will be in the warehouse. I'll be going through those books that I have. Oh, I don't know what else I'll be doing. But I will probably be spending some time there. And I had some sales over the weekend, so I'll be shipping those out. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate it. I will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m. Have a great day. Take care, guys.